up, Jacksonville? Come on, let's make some noise. First of all, it feels great to hear some DJ Khaled here in my home state of Florida. It's great to be back here in the 904 Duval County, like Ryan said. I used to live here from 2006 to 2014 through social media, through work. I was brought out west. I currently live in Los Angeles, California, but through and through, Duval County, Jacksonville will always be home. So thank you so much for welcoming me back here to your community. Thank you so much to our entire team here at Social Media Day Jacksonville, our volunteers, our sponsors, our speakers have also traveled from a long ways away. So I know Aaron did this before, but I want to go ahead and just give another round of applause to the entire team that brought this amazing event together. Thank you so much. So like Ryan said before, we're at a social media marketing event. We're celebrating Social Media Day. And by show of hands, who here has an Instagram or Twitter account? Okay, almost everyone. Who in the room doesn't have an Instagram or Twitter account? I'm going to go ahead and pick on you. Okay, we're going to talk after this, so make sure that you don't hide from me. What we need to do is get social, okay? So here's what I want you guys to do. And I've never done this before at a conference, so hopefully this doesn't backfire and like go crazy. What I want y'all to do is pull out your phones, introduce yourself to the person next to you, take a photo of them, and either tweet or Instagram it out with hashtag SMDayJax. Let's get Duval County trending on social media, because I tell you what, there's a lot happening today all over the country for Social Media Day. All right, y'all, your 15 seconds are up. So anyways, once again, it's so good to be back here in Jacksonville with all of you. Once again, my name is Carlos Gill, and just a little bit about me before I jump into it. I think Ryan mentioned some of the companies I've worked for, LinkedIn, BMC Software, Save-A-Lot, but what Ryan didn't disclose was perhaps one of the best opportunities in my career, and that was having an opportunity to start social media for Winn-Dixie right here in our backyard. Just a little bit about me, guys. In 2008, I was laid off from my banking job back then, and right here in my condominium at the time at Bartram Park, I started up this company called Jobs Direct USA. If any of you were living here back then, we did a lot of pink slip parties back at the Twisted Martini at the Landing, then over at Blackfin. And that opportunity, getting laid off, discovering social media, building my personal brand, is what led me to an opportunity to not only work for Winn-Dixie, but really to get my career started, reinvigorate my career on another level, to go from banking to work in social media, and not just on the career aspect, but just the people that I've met throughout the last decade has been really life-changing and career-changing for me. So the power of social media extends well beyond these four walls. It's online, it's the tweets that we send, it's the Instagram posts that we engage with. And with that being said, we're at a marketing event, but I want to forewarn all of you that the only metric that matters today is sales. I think we can all agree in this room that most of us, if not all of us, the reason why we're on social media is because we want to drive more revenue for our businesses. Is that correct? Is that a safe assumption? Yeah, clap it up. It's true. Whether you're a personal brand trying to get brand deals, I know we have a lot of corporate brands here. We have a lot of marketers and social media managers and directors and VPs that work for those brands. You go to any CMO, you go to any CEO, and guess what? For them, social media is that nice to have, but social media is also the lifeline between you and your customers. And I have this disclaimer up there because oftentimes we hear things like metrics being referred to, such as reach, clicks, impressions. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, the only metric that matters is the sales. So what I'm going to do with you over the next maybe 30 or 40 minutes is we're going to have a little bit of fun. It's the opening keynote, Social Media Day Jacksonville. It's the second year that we do this, and we have an amazing, packed audience here. I'm going to talk to you guys about a little bit of the state of social media today and provide you some actionable tips to help empower you and get you thinking, because over the next 2 days, you're going to hear about things like Facebook ads, YouTube, live video, chat bots. You're going to hear from different brands as well. Now, one of the questions I get asked almost every single day from colleagues of mine and from marketers is, Carlos, should I be on Instagram or should I be on Snapchat? Have any of you asked yourself this question over the last year or 2 years? A lot of you, I'm sure, have. And my answer to them is very simple. Go where your audience is, okay? There is not one social network that's better than the other. Just gonna throw it out there. Each one of these social networks gives you reach. Each one of these social networks helps put you in front of people who are potential buyers or existing buyers from your brand or your competition. So I don't like to get in these debates of which one is better than the other, because if I go through and I ask every single one of you what type of businesses you run, all of your customers are different. And with that being said, if you're a brand that, for example, is selling to millennials, chances are you're going to find a higher propensity of millennials on Instagram today and on Snapchat. So again, every brand is different. So as you think through the next couple of days of how can I take the information I learned here and apply it in my business, you're going to hear about different platforms, and just keep an open mind. How is your audience using these? Now, once again, we're talking about sales. We're talking about driving revenue. And since the beginning of time, sales has always been one-on-one. I think the biggest mistake that marketers are making in the year almost 2020 is they think, I'm going to get on social media, and I'm going to have access to reach all of these people. I have all of these followers. And the reality is that most people are not paying attention to the content that you're posting, which is why if you revise your strategy from being about one-to-many but more one-to-one, and you stop focusing on the numbers. Most recently I was working with a client that says to me, Carlos, we have 30 million social media followers globally, but we're reaching a very small percentage. And I looked at that CMO and said, you don't have 30 million followers. In reality, you have more like 300 or less. And they just looked at me like their jaw dropped and they were shocked. Because the reality is that you can't touch everyone that's out there in social media. And the way social media, as operates in real time, and the way content moves, content's relevant today, it's irrelevant 15 seconds from now, okay? So millennials are really at the forefront of a lot of what we do. I work a lot with real estate agents. We have any realtors in the room? A few of you? I work a lot with real estate agents. I often say to them, look, you gotta look at the data of who is your target buyer. In the case of realtors, 30 years old is the average age of a first-time home buyer. You're not going to reach that customer sending them direct mail, most likely. However, if you run Facebook ads, if you have any sort of presence on social media and can find a way to get in front of them, then you have a much higher likelihood of promoting your brand and getting that lead. Same thing applies for almost all of your businesses. I work both in B2B and B2C, and trust me, once again, you have to go where the current is. You have to go where the customers are. The reality is this is your audience today. People aren't paying attention to really what's in front of them besides their cell phone. We did a dinner last night for our speakers, and at one point I kind of looked and observed the table, and it was like an entire row of them were all on their cell phone at the same time. And I'm sure if you go to any boardroom meeting today at your businesses and you look around, what do people do when they show up? They put their iPhone first thing in front of them, right? I remember in 2014 when I was working at Winn-Dixie, we're doing this campaign where we're trying to take market share away from Walmart and Target and these guys, also Burger King, McDonald's. And I made this comment to our CMO at the time saying, why are we focusing so much on doing direct mail and at-home marketing? And instead, why aren't we doing SMS? Why aren't we doing push notification ads? Why aren't we reaching people on the device that they go to the bathroom with, okay? They use all the time. I've lived in San Francisco. I currently live in LA. You use public transit. What's everyone doing? They're on their cell phones. We use Uber. We use cell phones for virtually everything that we do. So guess what? Light bulb has to go off that if people are using this device all the time and they live by it, then guess what? Your marketing has to now appeal to the device itself. So it was funny because in 2014, that CMO looks at me and says, SMS is never going to take off. Mobile marketing is never going to take off. Who was joking, right? So you've got this high propensity of customers, millennials. They're all using social media. I think the biggest challenge that we all face is how do we reach people at the right time and ensure that our content resonates with them? Which is why I say that marketing is like finding your match on Tinder. By show of hands, and again, this is like a judgment-free zone. Who's ever used Tinder before? Okay, so like kind of how it works, right? You find your match, you see a lot of different people, you kind of go through, you swipe, and then you get paired with someone, and you get really excited, like, yay, I found my match. Marketing's no different. Okay, business, marketing, it's very much like dating. I see some laughs here. Am I right or am I wrong? So where I go with this, and marketing is like Tinder, you gotta find your match, is you've got a lot of people out there in this digital ocean, this digital sea that you're gonna hear me talk about here. And if your content is not appealing to that audience, then guess what? They're going to keep swiping. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see brands making today is they're focusing more on pushing out content, which I call digital noise, and they're not doing a good enough job listening to what's being said about their brand, their industry, or their competition. Let me break this down to you guys right now. Most brands have a social media content calendar, correct? Those of you that are doing social media well, hopefully, you work with an agency or internally, you have a social media content calendar. So they know that from, let's say, 8 in the morning to 6 p.m. in the evening, they're going to have content going out on all their social media accounts. And that's great. You got to do that. But how many marketers out there are actually taking the time to run searches on what's being said about them? And I'm not talking about at replies or at mentions. I'm talking about literally going through search on Twitter or on Instagram and typing in your company name. Better yet, type in a hashtag for your company name. All you guys should try doing this right now, by the way. This is like a gangster ninja trick. If you want to see what's being said about your company, go on Instagram, type in hashtag your company. If you want to see what's being said about your competition, type in hashtag your competition. Type in hashtag your industry. Those are real buyers. You know, going back to my days at Winn-Dixie, I said back then to our CMO early on in the day when Twitter was really hot, why don't we look at who's talking about Walmart, but we do this like in a very incognito way where we look up just Walmart or hashtag Walmart or people who misspell Walmart and do like W-A-L space and then M-A-R-T. And she said, well, we don't want to poke the bear. But think about this, friends. Social media is the wild, wild west. There's no rules. There's no governing body that's saying if you're Target, you can't engage with Walmart customers on Twitter or on Instagram. This is the greatest competitive advantage that you guys have, quite frankly. If there's anything that you guys walk away with from this keynote at least, it's probably this slide. Spend more time, spend more money listening to what's being said about your brand, your competition, and your industry. And the first place that you go is hashtags. Now, with that being said, as my clicker doesn't click through, again, we're at a social media conference, you got to improvise sometimes. There it goes. So you guys see some other slides here. All right. Social media is also, so here we go. Sorry about it, guys. It happens. We're at a conference. Social selling, which is really the form of using social media to sell, which is what most of us in this room are doing, is very similar to what I call to social stalking. And what I mean by social stalking is the process I just walked you through. If you want business, if you want to use social media to get the most out of it, which is not posting some content and seeing people like your posts, I'm actually talking about you want to get down and dirty and you want to find buyers of your business. My man here, Marty in the front row, has an agency. If you agency owners out there want to find new customers, go out and run searches for who are the CMOs at the companies that you're looking to do business with. Go out and run searches for who are the heads of social, who are the heads of marketing at these companies. If you're a real estate agent, very simple, run a search for looking to buy a home, Jacksonville, moving to Jacksonville. And you're not going to be able to send one tweet or post one time and get someone to convert. It just doesn't work like that. But what I mean by social stalking, and going back to what I said, sales is one-to-one, is actually building a relationship with folks. Now, I recognize that the playing field today is as noisy as it ever has been. And it's not just noisy because there's a lot of people, but it's noisy because there's a lot of platforms, and these platforms are constantly evolving. You know, most companies, when they develop their marketing strategies going into the year, what do? They go ahead and they're developing a 12 to 18-month plan. You look at a platform like Instagram, which right now is the most actively used social network that exists. Instagram's rolling out new features almost every single week. So I put this here for you guys to kind of look at the landscape of social media, where we're at today, kind of see what's trending, because there's going to be two common themes that you hear about this conference. You're going to hear a lot about Facebook ads, and you're going to hear a lot about video and live video. And the two biggest players right now are Facebook and YouTube. Now, let's talk about Snapchat for a moment. How many of you in this room actively use Snapchat? A few of you? Okay. I don't. I spent 2 years going around the entire world teaching marketers of how to use Snapchat. And you know, I got to give it to my marketing colleagues, probably they're watching the live stream right now. You guys were right. As soon as marketers got on Snapchat, as soon as brands got on Snapchat, everything was ruined at that point. Now, where we're at with Snapchat today is they're facing a very tough battle with Facebook, who's really competing for market share amongst millennials. And Snapchat's also, amongst themselves, competing with influencers out there. Influencers who are once very active on the platform. And you see here the example of Kylie Jenner. She was very vocal on Snapchat when they did their redesign. And Kylie tweets out, just saw the new Snapchat, referring to the update. I don't know how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Now, remember what I said to you guys before. One of the greatest competitive advantages that social media offers you is the ability to do what? To listen. Snapchat has a presence on Twitter. Do you think Snapchat responded to Kylie Jenner? No. Guess what happened to Snapchat next day? Actually, the slide's not on here. Snapchat lost over $1.5 billion in revenue in one day. Once again, the greatest competitive advantage that you guys all have in this room is the ability to use social media not to post content, but to listen and to engage with real users out there, real prospective buyers. Now, by show of hands, who in this room today woke up and the first thing that you did instinctively was grab your iPhone and go on Facebook and see what your favorite all-time brand posted? Look around. Not one person. 400 people here in Jacksonville, not one person woke up today. However, think about this as a marketer. We want our own consumers to go on our Facebook pages, to like our content, to share, to click, to engage, but yet we as marketing professionals and business owners don't eat our own dog food. Think about that. Now, there's the Kylie Jenner post. The reality is that today, 1% or less of your followers on Facebook are seeing your content. This is your audience. Biggest brands in the world are facing the same struggle right now. You spent the last 5 or 6 years building up this critical mass, which is your following, and you're not converting, and you're getting frustrated. So I say this to marketers all the time. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't be mad at Facebook because you suck at marketing. But hey, you know what? It's okay. We all have to learn. That's why we come to conferences, right? I say this with all due respect because over the last, let's say, 6, 8 months, I've heard marketing professionals nonstop say there's no value left in Facebook. Have any of you thought that? Have any of you said to yourself, you know what, Facebook's dead. They had this data breach. Zuck's had to go to Congress and testify. Facebook's dead. It's going away. Guess what, guys? Facebook's not going away. In fact, Facebook is the most powerful social network that exists. I was just at Facebook F8 about a month ago with our next speaker, Caitlin Angeloff at DocuSign. And one of the things that really stood out to me about where Facebook is headed is they're building data centers, 8 data centers in places of the world where there's no internet. And their plan is to ensure that every single continent in the world has access to internet. Why? Because Facebook's looking to really control communications and media. How we use a phone through Messenger, how we consume content. So with this being said, you can't build a mansion on rented land, which really means you're not going to go on Facebook and grow your businesses for free anymore. Those days are over. It is pay to play. You're going to hear tomorrow morning Dennis Yu talk to all of you about Facebook ads. Highly recommend that you come prepared to take notes in his keynote tomorrow because he's going to teach all of you the inner workings and tips and tricks of how to use Facebook ads. Now, with that being said, I like to look at brands today as being digitally stranded in a giant ocean. And what do I mean by this analogy? You have a lot of brands and you have a lot of people. It is noisy AF. It is noisy on social media. I'm a content creator. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. This stuff is even daunting for me as a content creator. Why? Because you can't just post content on one platform and walk away. You post content, you have to see the comments, you have to comment back, you have to, essentially rinse and repeat over and over again. And what happens for most brands and most creators out there is they get frustrated because you're not the only brand out there. Now, I'm a big Tom Hanks fan, so I use this analogy a lot. Have any of you seen Castaway before? Yeah? Essentially, we are all the digital equivalent of Tom Hanks in Castaway sending SOS signals for help. What's every brand doing out there? Come see our sale. Come look at our content. Click this, watch that. If you guys really want to know how to game the Facebook algorithm, don't ask for the engagement. You know why? Because Facebook wants you to pay for that engagement. So don't ask for it. Have your content be so damn good that you know what? People want to share it. A meme, a video, a GIF, something different. Believe you me, guys, I spent 6 years in corporate marketing doing perhaps the lamest marketing you can imagine. Not by choice, but I just want to throw it out there. People today don't want to be sold to. They really want to be engaged. So I also talk about, by the way, I love Tom Hanks, as you guys can see. Beware of digital pirates. Do you know what a digital pirate is? It's people that are stealing your market share. You know how I trained you guys before, how I taught you use social media to go on Instagram, to go on Twitter, see what's being said about your competition? Don't think honestly, in full disclosure, don't think I invented that. The best marketers today have found out that I can go right now on Instagram, I can see who's commenting on my competition's posts, and I can reach right back out to them and take them away and make them mine. An example of that is Wendy's. I think perhaps Wendy's has one of the best social media personas that exist today. The reason why is because Wendy's has fun on social media. You know, the key word in social media, guys, is social. How many brands out there are truly socializing? How many brands out there actually have publications like TechCrunch and Mashable writing about their response strategies? You know, you look at them taking a shot here. You look at, most recently, IHOP changed their name to IHOB. And what did Wendy say? They had a field day. Can't wait to try a burger from the place that decided pancakes was too hard. You know, but again, they have fun. This catches your attention, right? You look at Burger King, who for a day, they had a little bit of fun too. They sell pancakes, technically. They changed their name to Pancake King. Again, guys, these are digital pirates stealing market share away from IHOP. And this is where the market's headed. Because once again, social media has become the new infomercial. It's become the new way for brands to replace TV, and instead they just shove content down your throat. But this is fun. Be a troll to comment holes. We've all had these before. Let me tell you guys something, real talk for a moment. The internet today is a cruel place. It really is. There's a lot of trolls out there. Any of you YouTubers in the room, you'll know. They all kind of hang out there and then they farm out everywhere. I think there's like Slack groups for trolls out there. So how do you deal with comment holes? You troll them back. Now you look at this example right here from Tesco Mobile. They had someone that reached out to them and said, LOL, who's Tesco Mobile, and how they respond? Only about 4.7 million people, or about 4.6 and some change, more than you have followers. Ouch. Ouch. You look at this other example right here, and you see, the worst thing is your own mother blatantly ignoring your calls. Ouch. And this is one of my favorites right here. It's social media day. We've got a lot of social media professionals in the room. It's hard being a social media manager for a brand. Would you guys agree? It's not easy. And you have this person take a shot at Moon Pie, and Moon Pie writes back, says, first of all, I have feelings. So what I mean is by being a troll back is, you guys saw the Wendy's example with IHOP and with McDonald's. That's trolling in the world of business. And it goes back to what I said before. Social media is the wild, wild west. Like, I really wish, honestly, like, I enjoy this a lot. I would love to see, like, Champ Sports go on Instagram and see every person that's shopping at Finish Line at the Avenues Mall here in Jacksonville and literally go and, like, comment and say, like, hey, bro, why didn't you come over to us? Or better yet, on your next visit, here's 20 bucks on us. Check your DM. You can do that. Now, let's talk about storytelling for a moment. Storytelling is the new content marketing. We've talked about where this is going and where we're at today. How many of you enjoy going on social media and see content from a brand? 2 people? 3 people? Okay, you guys are being nice. I'm going to put you on the spot now. What brand? Brand? Yes. Jaguars. Check. Check. Audi. Next person. Brand that you like to follow. Since you raised your hand, we're going to make this real interactive. Okay. Fun brands. Fun. What you guys just mentioned. Cars, comics, mics, sports, when they're winning. Fun. You, ma'am? Nat Geo. Absolutely. Great. Fun. So you got to have a personality. The game is changing, guys. Your news feed today isn't when you scroll down and you're seeing all these people posting content. It's what you see in the very top row. Okay? Stories. Instagram's rolled them out. Snapchat has had them for a while. Facebook has rolled them out, live video. The key is to have personality in all that you do. Make sure you keep your story short, concise, and engaging. And what I mean by that is when you're creating stories, content, it's not intended to be a YouTube video. It's intended to be more like, almost like, think like pre-roll ad. It gets people excited, it gets them hooked, and then they want more. Here's the reality, guys. No one cares about your latest sale. Nobody. When was the last time, for my man here, it's Al, right? You like Audi's page, right? I'm gonna just put you on the spot, because I know you do some ads for car dealerships. Is that correct? Just so you guys know, Al spoke to my class at JU, I think 4 or 5 years ago. So, and again, I hate to put you on the spot. When was the last time that you got really excited because you saw a Facebook post from a car dealership? Thank you. Nobody cares about your latest sale. So, again, going back to what I said before, we're all in business for a reason. Every single person here is using social media in some way, shape, or form to drive revenue to your bottom line. How you get there is by humanizing the content that you're putting out. Any DJ Khaled fans in the house here? A lot of them? Excellent, me too. So DJ Khaled is one of the most watched people on social media today, along with the Kardashians. My advice to every single brand out there is to really study what Kim Kardashian's doing on social media, what Kylie Jenner is doing on social media, study what DJ Khaled does on social media. If you say this to most CMOs at your companies, they're gonna think you're absolutely batshit crazy. I'm gonna just throw it out there. But the reality is that there's a reason why people consume their content. And it's not because the last name Kardashian West or Jenner. It's not because DJ Khaled's the most attractive man in the world, because he's not. But it's the content that they post. It's a story. It keeps you engaged. You wake up in the morning and you're excited to see what's next. Every brand can do that. We talk about influencer marketing a lot in the social media space. Every brand has influencers working at their own companies. They're all of you. All of you are influencers. Once again, what did I say earlier? The greatest advantage that you have competitively speaking is the ability to listen. Listen to see who's actually tweeting about your brand, who's posting content about your brand. Those are influencers too. And then you know what you do? You take those folks, your employees, as well as your true advocates, which are your customers, and you empower them for them to do the storytelling for your brand. Very similar to the likes of a DJ Khaled. So I'm gonna leave you guys on this note. The great Walt Disney. If you want to keep your customers coming back for more and more with your social media content, take this advice into play. Do what you do so well that they will want to see it again and bring their friends. Thank you so much. How are we on time?
We're good. We got 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes. So let's open it up for any questions. You're going to have to shout it out real loud, and then if Carlos, if you can repeat it so everyone can hear
Wow, I went
it.
really fast.
Anyone have any questions for Carlos? Don't be shy. We're all family here. There we go. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Here.
Does your strategy change at all if you're working nonprofit, higher education, something along those lines?
Your strategy is always going to be based on who the end consumer is. What are you trying to get them to do? So great question. Does your strategy ever change? Absolutely. In fact, your strategy should be different for every single platform that you use. You should not have a one-size-fits-all strategy. So how you market to people on Instagram is going to be different than how you market to them on LinkedIn. It's going to be different than how you reach out to them on Facebook. Put yourself in the shoes of your consumer. What action do you want them to drive at the end of the day? Is it to download your app? Is it to give you money if you're a nonprofit? If you're at a university, is it to get people to sign up to come to school here? And then, so once you've identified what is that end game, what does that look like, then the strategy is, how do we get there? What do we put in front of them? You have to create content. And do you guys understand what content is, right? It's what people see, it's what they feel, and it's how they react when they see your brand. So the content that you put in front of them is what you want to lead them to. You want them to feel so amazing in your case that you want them to do what? Pull out a credit card and give you money. Excellent, love that question. What else? We got like 9 minutes, guys.
Down there on the right, real quick, all the way on the right. Go ahead. Just shout it out.
I'm a small boutique custom clothier, so my demographic is very regional. I have pretty strong content. I get a lot of engagement from outside the region. How can I dial it in to focus on just this region? Because I have fans all over, but I can't serve them.
What's your end game, Michael?
I want to sell suits.
You want to sell suits? Put on events. Bring people here. We've done it. Bring people to Jacksonville. You know, it's funny, once again, I work a lot with realtors, and I often say, realtors, create your own events. Like, go rent out a conference room at a Marriott where you can teach your customer about the value of what you do. In this case, it's suits. In this case, it's why should you up your game, right? Why should you dress better? You dress better, you can potentially make more money. That's the hook. The other flip side to that is today we have the opportunity to create content that we can monetize online. So you go to a platform like Kajabi, you create an online product, online course, you create such amazing content for free, because I call it freemium content. You teach men why they should dress better, why they should shave or trim their beard, why they should get haircuts, why should they invest in themselves, and if they really want the secret sauce, they opt in to your virtual product. Right here.
Yeah, so you were talking about when you have a brand and you are putting stuff out and putting content out there, the importance of being able to keep that engagement going, like to comment back on comments, to like things. And so I have a hard time keeping up with all of that. Is that something that you can outsource?
You can absolutely outsource it. You can outsource everything nowadays. Elance, actually it's Upwork. Elance became Upwork. Upwork.com is a good resource that you can go to. Does anyone here have any recommendations for freelancers? Savvy outsourcing? Who else?
So I guess part of the question is that authentic, right? If I have somebody else commenting for me, right, that's where I kind of get into this like funny state, because if somebody's commenting to me.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Is it authentic? Yes and no. You know that you're not doing it. Your end user doesn't know that you're not, because they're just looking at an avatar. I'm gonna be completely 100. Most of the biggest brands, including influencers and creators out there today, use some sort of virtual assistant. So again, wild, wild west. It's a level playing field. Don't overthink, hey, should I do this because it's not gonna be authentic. Think, how do I optimize and be more efficient so I can save more time? Anyone here use bots? Like, I love bots. Danny Monsone's gonna talk to you guys about that tomorrow. I love bots. You know why? Because bots save me time from doing the simple things that take a lot of time to do when you add it up. I'm running a business, I have a family. I don't have time necessarily to go through and like everyone's post. So you know what? Bot, I go ahead and program it. These are the people I wanna like their posts. I wanna reach their followers. I wanna hit up certain hashtags, and guess what? Carlos Gill starts appearing in your feed. Same principles apply for your brand.
So what do you think about, though, as far as resources for someone like her and others here, interns? Should we look at that, not tread lightly?
Interns are great.
Yeah,
We've all started
I agree.
somewhere. Yeah, absolutely. Marty.
I wanted to chime in to help her out. One thing you can do if you want to keep it authentic and make sure you're on message. A lot of times with social media, it's hard to keep track of everything. You can use things like Sprout Social. It's something that I use in my agency. Yeah, it's called Sprout Social. And it's a great platform where you can preset listening tools, because listening is what matters. That's what we do all day for these guys. But it's a great place to collect everything that's coming in. So you don't have to go to Instagram for this, Facebook to that. You could set Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to basically be in one organized feed. And you can delegate it out to team if you have other people, but you can preset all kinds of great listening tools and keep it genuine, because you'll be the one replying.
You guys want to really know where the magic happens in social media? It happens in the DM. Have you guys heard that song? It goes down in the DM.
Goes down
you rap
in the
fans out there?
DM, it goes
Yeah,
down.
no, like real talk. The direct messages, from my perspective, I would never automate a direct message. All the other stuff, the notifications, all that stuff, great. Direct messages actually physically take the time to dedicate, even if it's an hour a day, a couple hours a week, and respond to people personally. I think we have time for maybe one or two quick questions.
Yeah.
Yes? Well, they played it when I walked on stage. All I do is win.
Great question.
One more. Yes? All right, we'll get to.
Yeah, shout it out.
That's a good question.
Can you rephrase it?
No. So the question is, like, based on what you do, should you modify the strategy of each channel, correct? So who you are is who you are. Now, however, the content that you put out on LinkedIn is going to vary greatly from the content that you put on Instagram or Facebook. So I think we can all agree that. It goes back to what I said before, who's the audience? Is the content that you put out, look, I love to cook, but you're not going to see content of me barbecuing on LinkedIn. You'll probably see on like my Instagram story, right? So again, it's knowing who's the audience, who's the consumer, but the biggest thing is not just the content, what is that content doing for you? Because one of the mistakes I think a lot of people make today is they're just doing this, right? They're just throwing out content, but that content has no purpose. Look, guys, I'm running a business like many of you. You know what I'm using social media for? To network. To post less content and do more networking to get me in front of people that I'm trying to sell to. Once they opt in, the opt-in's the follow, okay? Once they opt in, subscribe, like, however you want to phrase it, at that point, now they're opting in to see what I'm projecting out, which is the content. So hopefully that makes sense and helps. Yes? The question is, how do you deal with clients that don't want to let go if you're on the agency side? You have to guide them. You have to educate them. Ultimately, they're the client, but your job is to empower them to do what? Drive more revenue to the bottom line. And you have to teach them. The reality is that most people in this room are at probably the mid-level. The CEOs, what do? They send you guys to conferences, right? So my recommendation is when you leave Social Media Day Jax and you go back to your office on Monday, if you really want to wow your supervisor, whoever they are in the org chart, actually write a report of what you learned. Sit down with them, get 30 minutes, take them to coffee, hell, bring them a Dunkin' Donuts. Actually sit down and say, you know what, these are the 5 things I learned at Social Media Day, and perhaps this can be an opportunity for you to get more budget for your client, for you to get more billable hours for your client too, because there might be something that you heard here from one of the speakers that they're not doing. So I'm a big fan of education, which is why I like public speaking. Same thing with one-on-one with clients. You teach them, you educate them, ultimately, they're going to do what they want to do. But I think it starts with really teaching them the way. All right.
Let's hear it for Carlos Gill.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.